a national forum, not local. And it's, I don't know whether local issues here come up, but it's definitely, it has three options which will be considered pros and cons of each of these options, because everything has an upside and a downside when you decide like what road to take. So that's
Out of the national information that's collected, is someone?
yes, because Rebecca Townsend, who's a professor at the University of Hartford, is coordinating with us on running the forum, and she's trained, as some of her students are trained by the National Forum Institute, in the techniques for facilitating these kinds of conversations, and then writing up a report and submitting it to the national office, and so on.
And is the national office going to
They-
write to the lawmakers, or
They
that's our
give public
responsibility?
presentations, they collect the data from everybody and consolidate it. They don't report what Bloomfield said, they report what everybody said.
Everybody, right.
They consolidate
Just
the
wondering to
information.
whom they will send
They
the
give
reports.
public presentations in the DC area to people in power, to
Okay.
people who show up, to people, to institutions, to whoever they can reach.
That's what I wanted to hear.
That's what they do. Yeah, they try to influence
Right,
the power.
the movers and the shakers.
Movers and the shakers in the DC area. So, but that's a lot about that. I was very pleased when Devin McCrory came to me and he said he's been studying meditation and using it for a variety of, overcoming depression, anxiety, trauma, and how good meditation is for that. Studying it for 5 years, giving presentations, running meditation groups. So I'm pleased to have him here tonight to introduce his ideas about meditation to you. Welcome, Devin.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm very, very blessed to be here. My name is Devin McCrory, and I run a company called The Wellness Initiative. What we do in The Wellness Initiative is we teach mindfulness and we teach meditation as a way of living a more fulfilled and a happier life, and helping you find inner peace. But also we teach mindfulness and meditation as a means of helping people to deal with depression, to help people deal with anxiety, and help people deal with trauma. Now I know some of you in the audience might be thinking to yourselves, can meditation do all that? Can meditation help you feel more fulfilled in your life? Can meditation help you find inner peace? And not only that, but to say that meditation can help somebody overcome depression, can help you overcome trauma, can help you overcome anxiety. Because nowadays, whenever there's a mental issue or an emotional issue, what do? They need a pill, right? Now I'm telling you that you can meditate and feel better. You can meditate and feel inner peace. And that might be a shocking idea to you. You might think to yourself, is that possible? And my answer is yes, it definitely is possible. I know for a fact, I know from personal experience, that meditation can help you overcome all the things I said. It can accomplish so much for you, and it can literally change your life. Meditation has literally changed my life, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my personal experiences with meditation. I grew up in Hartford, Connecticut. When I was young, that was during the crack epidemic. That was during the gang epidemic in the 90s. There was all that gang violence going on. So as a young kid, I was very, very sensitive, very quiet. I was an artistic kid, but I grew up in an aggressive environment. So imagine you're this little quiet, neat, little humble kid who likes to write fairy tale stories, and you're in an environment where there's guns and there's drugs and there's violence all around you. And then add to that the fact that I lost certain members of my family to gun violence. And then, went through other personal trauma from being in this really tough environment. And then when I hit 21 years of age, my father passed away. So the depression and the sadness and the trauma that I felt as a kid was compounded when my father died. And it got to the point where depression became so severe that sometimes I felt like I couldn't function. And then it got to the point where it was so bad, I started to have these little episodes where I would breathe too fast and I would get dizzy and lightheaded and I didn't know what was going on. I don't know if you guys remember that TV show House with the doctor. There would always be all kinds of weird things happening to patients, and then House would come in and he would figure out what's happening to the patients. And I thought that House would come in and figure out what's wrong with me, because I'm in the hospital because of these episodes that I'm having. And the doctors are saying, well, there's nothing wrong, we can't find anything. So I'm like, I told one of the doctors, I say, we need a house, where's the house? Bring a house in here to figure out what's wrong. Something going on with me, man. You don't know what's wrong? You gotta figure something out. So eventually, you know, I spoke to my doctor about it. He was saying, there's nothing physically wrong with you. So when he said that word, there's nothing physically wrong with you, that was a clue for me, that was a hint. And I realized that if there is an issue with me, the issue must be in my mind, right? And therefore, if there's an issue in my mind, then I must have the capacity within my mind to solve the issue. It's not physical, so I don't need medicine. It's not physical, I don't need a doctor. I need a different kind of treatment. It's an issue of the mind, therefore I must use the mind in order to solve the problem. And that's when I began to experiment with mindfulness and meditation. Now, what is mindfulness? Let's get a clear definition of what it is. We'll figure out how to use it. The definition for mindfulness is the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. A mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment, or calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations, and its use as a therapeutic technique. Right? Now, that's a whole bunch of fancy words. We read that definition to figure out what it means and probably got even more confused. But essentially what mindfulness is saying that mindfulness is a means of being aware of the present moment. Because whenever somebody is afraid because they're thinking about the future, anxiety comes from being uncertain of the future and uncertain of our power to handle the future. And depression and sadness comes from thinking about the past. And one day I was in my car, I was driving, and I was looking in the rearview mirror while I was driving, and I almost crashed. And I realized you can't drive forward if you're always looking back. So we have to learn how to focus our minds on the present moment, because quite often when we're going through depression thinking about the past, you're not aware of what's happening right now. When you're thinking about the future, you're not aware of what's happening right now. There have been times where I've been depressed or anxious over things, and I had to stop myself and say, you know what, I'm just sitting in the room. I'm sitting in the room and I'm totally safe, so why all this anxiety? I wasn't aware of the present moment. And when you focus on the present moment, you realize, wait a minute, I'm safe. That monster that I was afraid of as a kid is not here now. And that anxiety I have about the future is not happening right now. If you can focus on right now, that gives you a tremendous amount of control over your body, a tremendous amount of control over your emotions. So mindfulness is a means of gaining control over your emotions so that you can feel a state of calm and a state of happiness, right? Now, what is meditation? Definition for meditation. Meditation is a practice where an individual uses a technique such as focusing their mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to achieve a mental state of calm. So with meditation, what we're doing is we're learning how to focus our minds on one thing. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal, right? It doesn't sound like a big deal. But there's so much running through our minds now, especially because we're used to TV. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I noticed when I sit and watch too much TV, my mind starts racing even more. It's harder for me to focus on one thing. So a lot of times when your mind is out of control, you know what happens? Once your mind is out of control, the thoughts are out of control. Once the thoughts are out of control, the emotions are out of control. Once the emotions are out of control, behavior is out of control. And once the behavior is out of control, now you can no longer control your environment and control your destiny. And a lot of the kids that I work with, because I work with kids in a public school, I also work with kids in a drug rehab facility. And a lot of these kids had that to the nth degree. They had that issue to the biggest degree, where they would lose control of their thoughts, lose control of their emotions, lose control of their behavior, and then just completely destroy the environment they were in, or create situations for themselves that would be hard for them to deal with. They would be emotionally distraught by the end of the day. They would come in the morning, okay, and then by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they would be in a corner somewhere crying or screaming or fighting somebody, because they were so out of control with their thinking. Now, of course, we're looking at them, we feel sorry for them, like, oh my God, poor babies. But we do the same things to ourselves. Our minds quite often are out of control, especially when it's something negative. Something about negativity is so addictive to us. We have one negative thought, and we're going to run around with that negative thought all day in our minds and lose total control of our emotions. How can you be happy when you have that habit of being unable to focus the mind and losing control of your emotions? It's very difficult to maintain happiness. So meditation is a means of training your mind so you can focus on one thing. So all that other chatter, all the negative thought, all those negative emotions running around inside you, you can calm that down and focus on just one thing. Now, this is important because we don't want to have these negative experiences and these negative reactions all the time. We want to regain control over our feelings and our emotions. I don't know about you, but I like to be happy. I like to feel fulfilled. I don't like stress. I like to be in a state of inner peace. I like to be able to enjoy myself. I'm a married man. I have 2 beautiful kids. I want to be happy around my sons. I want to be happy with my wife. I want to enjoy the sunlight. Sometimes I'll go outside and I'll just stand outside in the sun. I got nothing to do. But I just want to feel the sun on my skin, because once you're mindful, you know how to focus on one thing. Just the feeling of simple things. The sun touching your skin is so beautiful. Just the simple things, taking a bite out of an apple and just enjoying it. It's so beautiful. Now imagine having those kinds of reactions to some small things, so when the big things happen that are really beautiful and really amazing, you can focus on those things. And not only that, but here's the secret. The secret is not only will you enjoy happy things even more once you meditate and use mindfulness, but you know what else is going to happen? When something you don't want takes place, you know what's going to happen? It won't bother you as much. I work in a drug rehab facility for teenagers. A lot of these kids have trauma. And some of the people I work with will get so stressed out and take everything so personally. I had kids call me every name in the book, threatening to kill my mother, threatening to kill my dog, threatening to burn my house down. It doesn't bother me, because they don't know that before I even walk in the building, I meditated for 15 minutes. So do your worst. Do whatever you want to do. Say whatever you would set the whole building on fire. It don't bother me, because I meditated before I came in here. So the negativity around me is not going to enter into me. There's somebody who told me once, when you're in a boat, the boat doesn't sink until the water starts to get in the boat. So there's a hole in the bottom of the boat, and water gets in the boat, it starts to sink. But if water is around the boat just floats. So that negativity can be around you, but you won't sink into that negativity until you let it inside you. The meditation is a means to keep the negativity outside, making it so that within you, in your calm center, nothing bothers you. It won't shake you. It will barely even affect you most times, once you learn how to master meditation. Now, understand that there is a hierarchy, like I was saying earlier. Your mind creates your thoughts affect your brain. The brain makes neurochemicals and hormones that affect the body, which experiences pleasure or discomfort. Then positive thoughts create positive sensations and experiences. Negative thoughts create unpleasant sensations and unpleasant experiences. Most of us are unaware of that, so our minds are running rampant. Our minds are going all over the place. But once you pull that mind in and rein it in, get control of it, this is going to put you in a constant state of happiness. Now, let's get a little bit technical. This is the nerd part of me. I told you guys when I was a kid I was real quiet and nerdy. Not a nerd part of me is going to come out a little bit. So get ready for a bunch of scientific words. This is how meditation works. When you are stressed out or you are in a negative situation, your body makes a chemical. The chemical is called cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It is very destructive to the mind and to the body. What happens when cortisol kicks in? When that cortisol kicks in, it makes your muscles very tight. It makes your heart start to beat very, very fast. Your blood pressure shoots through the roof. This is happening because there's a part of your brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is the part of your brain that takes over when you are in danger. The fight or flight response kicks in so that you can get out of that danger as soon as possible, right? Now, if we were living in the jungle or living in the forest and there were bears and lions everywhere, that comes in very handy. But unfortunately with us, we live in an environment where physically, for the most part, we are safe. But we get so stressed out sometimes that fight or flight response kicks in. And our body starts to feel that we're in danger. I gotta fight, I gotta get out of here, I gotta run. So imagine you're sitting in a room full of people and nothing's happening, but you feel like panic is taking over. You gotta fight, you gotta run, you gotta get out of here, right? So that part of the brain is going rampant whenever you're in a situation where you feel a little bit stressed out and you can't control your emotions. Now, once you meditate, your brain, you do certain things, you meditate, I'm going to explain what it is. First of all, when you meditate, a lot of times you will close your eyes, right? That slows down your sensory input. When you slow down the sensory input, that allows your brain to enter into a slightly calmer state, right? Now, your eyes are closed, you are taking deep breaths, taking in more oxygen. The oxygen helps you to calm down. Something else is going to start happening after a while. Your brain waves on a normal basis are going to be alpha brain waves, which are very rapid, taking in information, your brain is zooming, right? But once you close your eyes and meditate, your brain slows down, you start to produce beta brain waves. Now your brain is starting to slow down a little bit more, you feel a little bit more relaxed. And then eventually you go from a beta brainwave state to a theta brainwave state. Once you're in a theta brainwave state, what happens is your mind starts to produce dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical that makes you feel calm, it makes you feel happy, it makes you feel a sense of fulfillment, right? So you went from this state of cortisol, I have to get out of here or I'm going to die. Now you're in a state of inner peace. You're in a state of calm. because you shut down your sensory input, you're taking control over your breathing, and also, another thing that happens when you are in the theta brainwave state, your brain starts to produce visuals. You start to see visualizations. So these visualizations are calming. They're triggering the brain in a way where now the calm state that you feel inside of yourself is becoming more real, because now you can see it. Now you can see calm visuals in your mind, because the dopamine is producing visuals in your mind. And then on top of that, another thing that is happening is the fact that there is a part of your brain called the parietal lobe. The parietal lobe helps you to feel your space or your place in 3D reality. So this table, I can sense this table is here because of my parietal lobe. I can sense the weight of my body because of the parietal lobe, right? I can sense the walls around me because of the parietal lobe. I feel like I am myself because of the parietal lobe. But once you enter into a theta brainwave state of meditation, what happens is the parietal lobe shuts down. So now I no longer think in three-dimensional space. Now I feel infinite. I feel like I have no boundaries. Now I feel like I'm everywhere all at the same time. Now that might sound scary to you, but I think that's very valuable, because now you're able to have more compassion for other people, because now I am you. Instead of me saying I'm Devin, and what's your name again?
Dave.
Dave, I'm Devin, this is Dave. Once we all enter into a state of calm from shutting down the parietal lobe through meditation, now I feel more of a connection with you. I can't hurt you or yell at you, because now we are one. I'm infinite now. We are one. So once we all enter into that mind state, imagine living in a world where everyone feels a connection with the people around them, and all of us feel infinite. All of us feel this heightened state of compassion, because if I hurt you, I'm going to hurt myself. When you meditate, you create something in your mind called mirror neurons. Your mirror neurons are something that you develop in your mind so that you can experience to a certain degree what other people are experiencing. So, you know how when you see somebody get cut on their hand and you go, you don't feel the cut, but just seeing that person experience that pain makes you experience a little bit of that nervousness and a little bit of that anxiety about getting cut, right? Because your mind has created mirror neurons. As you meditate, you develop more mirror neurons. And not only will you experience the same pain that somebody else experiences, but you'll experience much of the same pleasure. So I'll get happy seeing you happy. I'll feel more satisfied with my life because I'm seeing you happy. The things that are going good for you are going to make me feel good. So all that jealousy and envy, all that stuff is gone. So you see how meditation is slowly changing how the brain operates. So you feel safer, you feel happier, you feel more fulfilled, and you feel a heightened sense of compassion for everybody around you, all because of you're changing the way your brain is functioning. So once you learn how to master mindfulness and meditation, master being in the present moment, master calming the mind down, you gain a certain level of mastery over your own mind, over your own body, right? Now here's another nerdy word, epigenetics. Epigenetics is the science of how your environment can affect your cells and affect your genes, right? Keep in mind, the first environment that your cells encounter is your body. So if you have cortisol in your body all the time, all day, every day, that's going to affect your health and affect your cells and affect your genes. So individuals who are stressed out all the time, or stressed out for long periods of time, you know what happens to them? Blood pressure goes up and it stays up. You have officially altered your genes and officially altered your cells so that now you produce hypertension in your body all the time. You know how some people you see are always stressed out? Well, guess what? When they're always stressed out, they're always sick. I've seen individuals who are sick all year round. It can be 90 degrees outside in summer, they walk around sneezing because they've changed the environment of their cells. So imagine you put yourself in a happy mindset where you're producing positive chemicals. You're producing serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, all these other happy chemicals in your body. You've officially changed your own DNA. Now, I'm not saying you're going to change your DNA and become Superman. I'm not saying you're going to change your DNA and be able to pick up a whole building or anything of that nature, but you're going to make yourself healthier and you're going to change how your body functions because you've altered the environment that your cells are living in. That's the beauty about mindfulness and meditation, is that it gives you control of things you didn't realize you had control over. And the most important thing that you can control is your own thoughts, so you can control your own body. Now, with continued meditation and being a continued theta wave state, and they say your brain produces dopamine, or come back. Now also keep in mind that there are various meditation techniques that I'm going to show you guys and teach you guys. I want to cover a few of them, but I want to kind of explain how they work. And I'm going to explain it very simply so we can get to the meditation part. Your brain, I'm gonna divide the brain in three sections. This section right here, in the back of your brain, the brain stem is called the reptilian brain. That reptilian part of the brain is like a snake. Snakes don't feel love, they don't feel compassion. A snake just wants to eat and survive. So this part of the brain is in charge of keeping you alive and showing you where the food is, right? This part of the brain, the mammalian part of the brain, is where the emotions lie. So whenever there is a animal with a herd instinct, animals who operate based on working together, that's where the mammalian brain is. These are mammals who survive because they know how to have a sense of connection to other animals. So a mammal who has a child will nurture that child, take care of that child, because they're all part of the same herd. So that love, the sense of love and connection comes from the mammalian part of the brain. These are positive social emotions. The prefrontal cortex of the brain is a complicated part of the brain that is in charge of language and morality and reasoning, things of that nature. So when we meditate, each of the techniques that we're going to use when we meditate is going to activate a specific part of the brain. We're going to use a visualization technique for meditation, which is going to stimulate this part of the brain right here. We're going to use a loving compassion kind of meditation, which is going to stimulate this part of the brain right here. And we're going to use a mantra meditation because the prefrontal cortex operates based on language. So all three parts of the brain are going to get stimulated, and that's going to eventually deepen our connection to meditation and strengthen the results of meditation. Okay? That's a lot. So far, anybody have any questions thus far? Anybody got anything they're wondering about, anything they want to know? Okay. So let's jump right into some meditation real quick. I'm going to grab my phone.